October 13th, 1972, Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571, carrying 45 people, mostly members of a rugby team from Montevideo, their friends, their families, flying to Chile for a match. The pilot miscalculates their position in a snowstorm, starts descending too early, and at 3:30 p.m., the right wing clips a mountain peak, shears off completely. The tail section breaks away with 5 people still strapped inside. The fuselage, what's left of the plane, toboggans down a steep glacier and slams into a snowbank. 12 people dead on impact, several more critically injured. The survivors, 29 of them initially, stumble out into blinding white snow and realize with growing horror where they are. 15,000 feet up in the Andes, no civilization for 100 miles in any direction, temperatures dropping to -30 degrees Fahrenheit at night, and the nearest rescuers have no idea where they are because the plane's white fuselage is invisible against the snow.
The survivors drag the injured back into the broken fuselage. It's the only shelter they have. They search for food and find almost nothing. Some chocolate bars, a few bottles of wine, 8 small bottles of liquor, a tin of mussels, some crackers, scattered snacks passengers had brought. They ration it carefully, but even rationed, they have maybe enough food for 3 days, maybe. And these are rugby players, young men in their 20s who need thousands of calories a day. And the injured? The injured are dying. There's no medical supplies, broken legs, internal bleeding, a steel tube impaled through one boy's stomach. They're doing what they can with airplane seats and belts to make splints, but people are dying every few hours, and every death makes the cold reality more obvious. We are going to die here, all of us, unless rescue comes soon, very soon. For 8 days they wait, huddled in the freezing fuselage, rationing tiny portions of food that ran out on day 6, melting snow to drink, listening to a small transistor radio they found, hoping for news of rescue. And then, on October 21st, 8 days after the crash, they hear it on the radio. The announcer's voice, clear and final: the search has been called off. The authorities have declared everyone aboard Flight 571 dead. They are officially giving up. No one is coming. And in that moment, in that terrible moment of absolute abandonment, the survivors realize they have a choice. They can wait here and die slowly of starvation, or they can do the unthinkable. And it's not an easy thought. It's a thought that makes them physically sick, but they're surrounded by bodies, frozen in the snow. The people who died in the crash, their friends, their teammates, their family members, and those bodies, that frozen flesh, is protein, is calories, is the only food source for 100 miles in any direction. And if they don't eat, they will die. Every single one of them will die.
The discussion is agonizing. Some refuse outright. It's wrong, it's desecration, it's against everything they were raised to believe. They're devout Catholics, most of them. The idea of consuming human flesh is not just taboo, it's sin. But others argue the people who died, they would want us to survive. They would give their bodies to save us. And if we die here, we all die. But if we do this, some of us might live. Some of us might make it home. And one survivor, a medical student named Roberto Canessa, makes the argument that changes everything. He says, when we die, when the rescue comes, if it ever comes, they will cut us open for autopsy anyway. Our bodies are just meat, our souls are gone. And if I die here, I want my friends to use my body to survive. I give permission. Eat me if it means you live. And slowly, painfully, the group comes to consensus. They will do it. They have to do it. And on day 10, with hands shaking and tears freezing on their faces, they take a piece of glass,
cut strips of frozen flesh from a body in the snow and force themselves to eat. Some vomit immediately. Some can't even bring the meat to their mouths, but they know it's this or death. And so they eat. They survive. They do what humans have done in the worst extremes throughout history. They cross the line that civilization draws, because the alternative is extinction.
For weeks, they survived this way. Rationing the frozen flesh, organized teams cutting and preparing the meat with clinical precision to distance themselves from the horror of what they're doing, praying every day for forgiveness, for rescue, for anything. And then on October 29th, 16 days after the crash, in the middle of the night, they hear a roar, a rumble, and before anyone can move, an avalanche crashes into the fuselage. Tons of snow bury them alive. They're trapped under snow inside the plane, people screaming, suffocating, dying in the darkness. 8 more people killed instantly, buried and crushed. The survivors dig themselves out, but now they're down to just 19 people, 19 from the original 45. More than half their group dead, and morale is shattered. They've been here over 2 weeks. They're eating their dead friends to stay alive. An avalanche just killed 8 more, and no one in the outside world knows they're alive. They realize now that rescue is not coming. It will never come. If they want to survive, they have to save themselves. They have to walk out. And when they look at the mountains surrounding them, the endless peaks stretching in every direction, it seems impossible. But 3 men volunteer: Roberto Canessa, Fernando Parado, and Antonio Vicentin. They will climb west, toward Chile, toward civilization. Even though they have no climbing equipment, no cold weather gear, they're wearing 3 sweaters and rugby clothes, no proper boots, no rope, no map, nothing. Just desperation and the knowledge that everyone will die if they don't try.
On December 12th, 60 days after the crash, the 3 men set out. They climbed for 10 days through some of the most hostile terrain on Earth. Summits over 16,000 feet, glaciers, crevasses, sub-zero temperatures. Vicentin turns back to save food. Canessa and Parado push on, surviving on tiny rations of human flesh they carried with them in a sock. And on day 70, December 20th, 1972, starving, frostbitten, barely alive, they stumble down a mountain valley and see something impossible. A man on a horse, a Chilean farmer on the far side of a river, and Parado screams, waves his arms, collapses, and the farmer sees them, these 2 skeletal figures in rags, and he throws them bread across the river, goes for help. And the next day, December 21st, helicopters fly into the mountains, guided by Parado and Canessa, and they find the crash site, find the fuselage buried in snow, and inside, 14 survivors, still alive, 72 days after the world gave them up for dead.
The 16 survivors, weak, traumatized, barely recognizable, are airlifted to safety, and within hours the world knows they survived, knows how they survived, and the reaction is explosive. Some call them heroes, others call them monsters. The Catholic Church debates whether they committed mortal sin. Newspapers run sensational headlines, "Cannibals of the Andes." The survivors face reporters, cameras, judgment, and they stand together and say, "We are not ashamed. We did what we had to do to survive. Our friends who died, we honored them by living, by carrying them down the mountain inside us, by making their deaths mean something." And one survivor says it perfectly. He says, "I would do it again," because the alternative was letting everyone die, letting all those deaths be meaningless. And our friends, if they were alive and we were dead, they would have done the same for us. We made a pact in that frozen hell. We survive together or we die together, and we chose life.
The world struggles with it. Theologians debate it. Ethicists write papers about it. But the survivors, they move on. They live, they have families, careers, they write books, give speeches, they tell their story, not for fame, but so the world understands that when you're at the absolute edge of human endurance, when death is staring you in the face and you have to choose between an ancient taboo and survival, you will do things you never thought possible, and you will live with those choices forever. But you will live, and living, they argue, is what their dead friends would have wanted, every single one of them. 52 years later, the survivors still meet, still remember, still honor the 29 who died, and they say those people saved our lives, twice, once by dying so we could survive, and once by giving us a reason to keep going, to make it home, to tell their families what happened, to let the world know that on a frozen glacier in the Andes Mountains, 16 people faced the darkest choice imaginable and chose life, chose to survive, chose to carry their friends home the only way they could. This was the Andes flight disaster, 72 days of survival, the most extreme test of human endurance and morality, and the 16 people who walked out of hell and had to defend their decision to live. Welcome to Vale of History, where survival sometimes demands the unthinkable.